Automating your business as much as possible is one of the best things you can do to scale. Most new business owners hit a point where they have to handle everything, and things start to fall apart once you start to give up control. This happened to me at one point, and if it hasn't happened to you already, it will. The best way to get past this is to delegate and automate every single part of your business so things run smoothly without needing you to be part of them. This is how you open up your time to scale, to grow your business, and make more money. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about delegating everything off of your plate and setting up processes so your team can operate without needing you. If you don't know me, my name is Jordan Ross. I'm the founder of Eight Figure Agency. We're a growth consultancy and portfolio where we've helped over 1,000 businesses grow and get clients out of the operations and client services. Now, when it comes to your business, everyone starts with DIY, doing it yourself. And this is, where you have to if you're running a service-based business. One of the first things that I did personally in my path was I delegated the hardest thing. I delegated account management fulfillment. Now, when it comes to how I did this, the first thing was I hired people that have experience. Now, most people think that in their business, the best thing they could do is hire someone cheap, but I actually disagree. If you're going to delegate your account management and your fulfillment, the best thing you could do is actually hiring someone a little bit more expensive. Now, if you're hiring a strategist or account manager, you're typically going to look at someone that's going to require $100,000 to $120,000 a year. And if you're running as a solo individual, maybe you come back to this step later. But as you can see here, I was able to get this off my plate because I recruited extremely good talent. Matt, who's actively my COO, started as one of my consultants. Matt was a COO running a $20 million a year business, and he was willing to come work for me, more costly price than the average consultant. And one of the first things I had to do was just aggregate as many calls as possible. If you are someone that does this, you need to define how you fulfill, how you do calls, how you onboard clients, how you talk to clients. And the simplest way you could start to do this is just record everything on Loom. If you are newer to building processes, the best thing you could give someone is a massive library of every single call that you do and give them about 80 hours of work of consuming your content. Now, if they do this on Loom, they could watch it on 1.5 or 2x speed, reducing the amount of 80 hours down to the tune of 40 to 60 hours. But this is the first and most important step to delegating someone. You need to literally get them to watch all your calls. Then you need to define your process and make sure you look at my process workflow as shown in my other videos. And from there, you need to audit them. You need to sit on calls for at least 90 days, probably 6 months. And that's really the big thing. When it comes to the next step that I followed, I started to delegate customer success and client onboarding. Now, one of the things that I did for this part is I mapped out every single step that needs to be followed when a client gets onboarded into my business. And the parts that you could automate are actually pretty simple. You could have a Zapier integration that every time you clicked closed one in your CRM, it could send them the onboarding form, the calendar link of your consultant, and a Slack channel invite so they could automatically be added to your business tech stack. Now, the next thing is how do you make sure that everything they need is done? For my customer success associate, they have to send me a checklist every single day that shows when clients onboarded, if they're in Slack, were they added to the community channel, was their scorecard and important link tools bookmarked in Slack, when do they have their initial call with us, when is their debrief call, so when do we finish their onboarding, do we have their card on file, and do we make relevant introductions? The easiest and simplest thing that you could start to do in your business is make checklists just like this, that when you need people to get things done, you send them a checklist, and then you send them what I call your admin Wikipedia. Now, similarly, in my business, each one of my admin actions has a correlating training, whether it's for my credit card processing, to update our revenue sheet, to onboard talent, to onboard clients correctly, to pay my team in Gusto, to do miscellaneous tasks, to manage partners, to manage community, to onboard and offboard talent, to manage sales reps, and to manage my inbox. When it comes to starting the delegation process, don't overthink it. Just make Loom videos, make checklists, and then delegate. Make sure they submit those checklists to you every single day. And this one thing, in conjunction with your clients having a templatized onboarding process, will get you out of so many day-to-day tasks. Now, if you're not sure what that looks like, this is a quick example of what a workflow looks like, where it says the tasks, the actions, who owns it, the goal of the touch point, and how long it should take, and so much more. You need to be building that out. Once I delegated both account management and customer success, I started to delegate cold outreach. The simplest way that I actually found my cold outreach associate was I made a post on LinkedIn, and I got a lot of people overseas DMing me. And this is where I found VK. VK DM'd me and really followed up with me continuously until I hired him. he demonstrated he had the process and the standards to manage cold outreach. But if you're someone that's new to cold outreach and you don't exactly know how to do this, what I recommend, once again, is building a checklist. Number one, first, what are all the things that you need to do daily? How many calls do you need to see booked daily? How many calendar invites do you want to see sent daily? And more importantly, training, right? What are the scripts that you need to see? Write all of your scripts out. Show them how to reply to every single message. If they have a message that they don't know how to reply to, what I tell my team member is text me or Slack me. I'll write the reply, put the reply into ChatGPT, and label that reply. Now, one thing that I do for my cold outreach team is I literally tell them I will pay for your ChatGPT, and every time you learn something new, every time there's a response, I want you to use ChatGPT as your learning management system. And that's one of the hacks I use to train my people. We use ChatGPT so they don't have to remember scripts. They save scripts. At this point, delegating account management, customer success, and cold outreach took me a couple years. And the thing that I wanted to do was test how good is my team at actually managing my business. And when it came to taking time off, I took a full month off back in 2022 for the first time, and things went pretty well. We closed 8 clients that month. We pretty much maintained our client services pretty well, but we actually didn't book that many calls. I think we booked 5 calls in the month. So that showed me the biggest gap in my process. The number one way you need to learn where your systems are good and where they're ineffective is by taking time off. If you're not tolerant for stress, this is not for you. But if you do have stress tolerance like I do, the only way to know if your business is in good shape is you've got to take time off. So when I came back from a month off and I spent a lot of time in Europe, I knew I had to build better systems. So I went to build systems on inbound content, funnels, landing pages. I hired consultants and I built a really good system to eventually delegate 2 years down the line. The next thing I delegated was payroll and invoice management. Similarly, this was a pretty easy process. I made the training on how my team members could submit their hours to my payroll associate. I made the training on how my associates can send invoices, and then I delegated it. When things were broken, I audited the process and I made more trainings. And as you can see here, it took me 20 different videos and 20 different trainings on how my team could invoice correctly before they got it. There were a lot of mistakes, but the simplest thing, and I can't stress this enough, that the only way you're able to actually do this correctly is by hiring a contractor off of Upwork that has 5 stars, that has great ratings, and put them into a process, have them watch your videos, have them send you their checklist at the end of the day. And if they do their job well, you'll know it really quickly. If they don't, you go back to Upwork. Now, in Upwork right now, I am hiring for a few different roles. And what I'll just show you is when I'm on Upwork, how I actually think through the hiring. You could see I've shortlisted 8 hires for an AI developer. And what I'm looking for is 100% ratings with over $1,000 earned. Now, if someone like this person doesn't have, 100% rating, they get a thumbs down. 93% ratings, thumbs down. 76, thumbs down. I will only hire someone if they are 100%, because what this tells me is that they've been doing really good work. If they have earned thousands of dollars, this will also be a great indicator. Now, the unique hack that I use on this process is I always go to look at how many current jobs do they have right now. This person only has 2 jobs in progress. They've earned $40,000 in Upwork, and there's only 2 jobs in progress. This person has only made $1,000 in this job, but it looks like they're making a substantial amount of money on this job, and they've worked at this position for 5 months. So I could actually, if I wanted to see how many hours are they working at this company, I take 27,000, I divide it by $30 an hour, and I just do the math. And when I do the math, I take 27,000 divided by $30 an hour. They've worked about 915 hours. If I divide that by 5 months and divide that by 4 weeks in a month, they're working 45 hours a week. So this tells me they have a full-time job. They wouldn't be a good hire for me because I don't want someone that's working a full-time job ready to come work for me if I want to eventually promote them to full-time. So that's how I hire on Upwork to ensure that I could delegate. Once I was able to delegate payroll and invoicing off my plate, I moved over to implementing software and automations for onboarding. Now, if you were to sign up for ADEF today, you would get an automated email to join my portal. In that automated email, you'd automatically get this onboarding form, which would then give us a heads up that our client has completed the onboarding form. Now, going back to your workflow, your job in your workflow is to understand what things can be automated and what things cannot be automated. If you need help with automations, reach out to me in the comments or email me at jordan@afigureagency.co, or you can go back to Upwork like I had showed you and find automations experts for really good prices. I have a full-time team member I found on Upwork that does all my automations to this date for $30 an hour. There are a lot of things that if you show your workflow to your employee, they will tell you if you can or cannot automate. But the goal is to automate as much as possible with AI and Zapier. The next thing I got off my plate was web maintenance and marketing associate activities. Commenting on with some people on posts, making updates to my website, and once again, shocker, I made a hire off of Upwork. based on today, if I were to rehire someone, I would hire someone that knows how to build and update websites using AI. But using my filters, same exact process. I'd look for someone that has 90% and up. They've made over $1,000 and they already are proven, right? So I'm only looking for the people that have 100% rating and they have a decent hourly price. So you can see here, a lot of these people are making $30 an hour if they do their job well. But this person who's based in Canada makes $20 an hour. She's made over $10,000. When I click into her profile, she actively has 2 jobs in progress and she's been working on both of them for a couple months. That looks like someone that I could hire to make updates to my website ad hoc. And that's the goal here. I'm just looking to delegate the small, simple things, and you could find really good people on Upwork where you don't need training. You just need them to come do the right thing, and you need to set very clear expectations. When it comes to onboarding any new talent, one of the most important things you could do is expectations. And this was the agenda that I built for my partner over in my bookkeeping business on how to recruit talent. I gave him some simple scripts. I gave him on questions that he needs to ask, and I just made sure that he was able to set very clear expectations. Now, I didn't want to go through all the details because we did have some sensitive details in this training, but you need to set very clear expectations. When do you need to have replies by? When do you need people to finish the training? How often do you need them to work? Is it 1 hour a week? Is it 5 hours a week? If they don't do the job, do they get 3 strikes and they're fired? Or are they fired immediately? Right now in my business, I tried hiring an executive assistant. I told him he needs to be working 1 hour a day, helping me with my inbox management. Today is a Friday when I record this video, and he didn't work an hour and he didn't text me. And this is the 2nd day in a row. So I've seen enough where I'm pretty confident this relationship's not going to work, but I'm going to give him one more shot because I do believe in the 3 strikes rule. So I'm going to say, hey, my expectation is that you're going to work at least 1 hour a day helping me manage my inbox, and you haven't done 1 hour a day for the last 2 days. I asked you to send me messages in my inbox. I want to ask you, are there any barriers? And this is the process of working with talent. It doesn't always work. You could set good expectations, but you need to have a process of checking in, and you need to make a decision. Are you the type of person that's going to give people 3 strikes, or are you going to give people no strikes and they're automatically let go if they make mistakes? The next few things I delegated were script writing, hiring a sales professional, and hiring my COO. Script writing, I had someone that was just amazing and was able to write scripts on their own without needing me. They used humor and they used funny things, and I get comments all the time about my cold emails. For my sales closer, this one was a little bit harder. I found that if you post a job on LinkedIn looking for a high ticket closer and you say that they could make between $6,000 and $12,000 a month, you're going to get a lot of good candidates. Now, what I found on LinkedIn specifically is that there are veteran sales professionals of 10 to 20 years that have run companies, but there's a lot of jobs in the marketplace where you have to go get your own leads and you have to sell. If you can build a business that could get a lot of leads, you could actually get really talented people. You just need to sift through about a couple dozen interviewees and applications to find the closers that are just killers. When you onboard them into your business, the most important thing is giving them a bunch of calls. When it comes to my business, my sales team has 80 calls that they could watch. As you can see here, there's a lot of different calls of people that we've spoken to. Did they close or not? But my expectation when I hire a closer is you're about to watch 80 calls. When do you think you could watch 80 calls? How long will it take? And once you watch 80 calls, then you'll be hired. I will pay you, but you gotta do this. As it relates to hiring a COO, this one was the hardest thing, but I recommend hiring someone on a project basis before you move them to part-time basis and then moving them into full-time. If someone can do a project really well that is going to start to delegate some of the roles of a COO, this is going to be a better indicator that they could actually help you run your operation. Your COO, when you're starting out, is going to be managing your team, going to be managing client services, going to be talking to clients when things break. They're going to be training people. My COO meets with my consultants every single week on a group basis. He also meets with them on a one-to-one basis every single week. And he has taken this off my plate because he knows how to do the job really well. He knows how to audit my consultants' calls. He coaches them. He develops them. And for this role, I just promoted someone that was doing the job really well, that was a really good people manager. Now, not every person that can do the job well can also manage people, but for my business, I really need someone to be both my COO, who is responsible for increasing LTV, responsible for making our process better, but also my ops manager. He's sitting in 2 roles because usually when you hire someone at that $2 million to $3 million per year level, this is what they're going to be doing at first. They're going to be both operations manager and COO. Once you hire the COO, my next big action for you between sales and COO is you got to take another month off. The reason for this is when I took a month off in 2023, my sales team didn't perform well. They didn't perform well because I didn't train them well. I wasn't talking to them daily. When you hire a sales closer, you need to be willing to be a sales manager, and an effective sales manager is going to be talking to their direct reports and auditing and watching calls at least twice a week minimum. For my sales executive, who's a 20-year veteran in sales, I still talk to him and audit calls at least 3 to 4 days a week. And that's just because we are pursuing excellence. In 2022 and 2023, I thought I could train my people 1 or 2 times, have them watch my my calls, and then I could just delegate it. And what I realized is even if you're a great trainer, people still need people to audit and coach them because that's just what keeps standards high. My sales plummeted the month I took off. We only closed 4 deals that month. And that was a big failure for me. And I realized if I'm going to do the right thing, I need to audit and coach continuously, which is annoying, but that's just required. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't take a month off. So once again, if you want to build a business that can work without you, you need to take a month off. Once I got my COO up and running, he was able to eventually start taking over the process to make my business better and increase LTV. As you've already seen, we have a custom portal that has a lot of automations. It has all of my forms. It's where we manage our clients. It's where we have our clients very specifically in there working on their action items. We're able to add automations to have our clients do very specific things that we need them to do. We're able to see, based on my consultants' availability, who has capacity so it connects to sales. But this level of software and structure came as a direct result of my COO looking at our process and saying, how can we make this better? In addition to that, the next thing, I delegate sourcing and hiring. And that one was really simple. For hiring, my COO was good enough at the role to know who was good, but it actually took us about 9 months of making over 12 hires to make assumptions as to what are the criteria that we're looking for, what makes a good person, what makes a bad person. And every time we hire and every time someone fails, we do what we call an AAR. We review within that AAR what went well, what didn't go well, what would we do the same, what would we do differently, and what do we need to change our process. When we are doing this, we have one of my admins running my LinkedIn jobs posting. We're spending $6 a day on every job posting until we aggregate a couple hundred interviewees, and then we disqualify people based on criteria that we give them. After this, one of the next things I delegated was content repurposing. Now, I have a great content repurposing machine where all I do is focus on writing newsletters. I write newsletters and I send them to Ryan Carr's team. They're over at Tailwind, and he edits my newsletters. He makes them digestible for a newsletter. And then my content repurposing team will take these newsletters and post them on both LinkedIn and Twitter. And I have 2 different teams that post on LinkedIn and Twitter because each platform is different and you need to change the hook for each platform. But this one thing allowed me to just focus on writing one good long form post a day. And now I have trusted vendors that are not making my own content. They're just making my content platform related. The final thing that I did to get the last component off my plate was delegate data review for strategy. Now, data review is really looking at your business as a whole. I have a CFO, his name's Jordan Rosenberg, and Jordan looks at my entire business. He looks at the data on what we're doing financially. He looks at my P&L. He looks at how many calls we booked, what our average cost per client is, what our marketing return on ad spend is. He looks at our attribution. He looks at our LTV per client per attribution source. He looks at all this data and he tells me, this is what the data tells us, and this is where you should put more time, energy, and attention to. Here's where things are profitable. Here's where things are not. And that hire as a fractional CFO, which I was pretty intimidated by at first, made such a big difference. And this is like one of the best hires I could ever recommend you make that I never even knew I needed because I just wasn't doing analysis. And if you want to meet Jordan, send me an email, jordan@eightfigureagency.co. I'll introduce you to Jordan Rosenberg, and he could help you make some of these simple decisions because he could do a lot of things just for a small subscription, even like $1,000 a month. That was super helpful to me. This is all I did. This was every single step that I did to automate and delegate my entire business. Once you've automated as much as possible, once you've delegated as much as possible, and your business is running smoothly, you're ready to scale. And at this point, scaling becomes a lot easier. If you want the exact step-by-step guide on how to scale to 7 figures, make sure you check out the video below. If you receive value from this, make sure you subscribe. And if you want help scaling your business, go to eightfigureagency.co/call where we can help you grow. Thank you.